Alright, here we go again. Pop out chat. And I forgot to get a link to it. So now we go to YouTube. Here we go. Nothing like zero effort streaming. Well, while people are coming in, I guess I will just bring up my list for now. I too can create incomprehensible gurgling sounds. Did I make incomprehensible gurgling sounds? I may have. Unwittingly. I'm usually so witting. Anyways, irregardless, this is what I've got for rankings right now. I feel like this is fantasy football or something. Map making edition. Last TLMC, I also made a list of everything I thought was going to be finalists. And that took me, like an hour or two? It was really fun. Now I'm like, well, now I actually have to have reasons for... Oh. Huh. YouTube is saying that. YouTube is saying that it expects my video to be in a completely different resolution. 1 second. I might have to restart the stream because YouTube is very much not happy with me right now. How does this work? Do you have to set this? Yeah, new monitor. 1440p. Got it yesterday. Very happy with it. It's my first 1440 monitor. I mean, does it look fine? If it looks fine, then I'm just going to ignore the error message, because that's what error messages are for. Certified programming moment. Yeah, but over on YouTube, it's telling me that you need to change the video resolution. The current resolution is 1440, which is not supported for this configuration, which is odd. Do you have an option for 1440 just in the, you know what I mean, on the stream? I'm just gonna keep streaming at 1440. If it's an issue or I start having, if it starts being an issue, then I can change it. But let's see. Technically, I could just output it, not just for you, but for YouTube. Yeah. Well, technically, I think, isn't the bitrate the thing that costs the bandwidth? I have set the bit rate to a specific number. It's like 6,000 kilobits per second. Green next to the maps. That was maps that I judged like at like 3 a.m. Oh wait, no, not anymore. Originally, those were maps I judged at 3 a.m., but then I changed it to be maps that should be new to this list. So, because I went back through and I fixed up whatever ones I did at 3 a.m. I moved most of them a little bit. A lot of them I noticed new things on, as one does when you judge at 3 a.m. I also added music. I added StarCraft music. I've just got a playlist with like the music of every... I'm going to turn that down a bit. I've got a playlist on Spotify with just all the StarCraft's musics. So I'm just playing that. Anywho. Yeah, I was just looking at Riptide. Does it say somewhere how many maps I've done with already? No, but we can see that kind of over here. Every time I look at a map, I usually mark it off on here. The green was the ones that I was doing at 3 a.m., so just the greens are the same as everything else. And blue also means nothing. Listen, I had a lot of things happening at the same time. The only one that does mean something is generally the yellow. Yellow generally means that I'm kind of done with that map. Most cases I've written up notes for it, and the score is probably not going to change. I've only been really doing that for the really low rated ones. I mean the ones I'm pretty much nuking. I had notes on Post Youth here. Let's find those. Oh yes, and on Dynasty. I keep writing my notes up in a separate program. Also, for everyone, there are a lot of maps here that are just very heavy on the fog, and it bothers me a lot. Descent on Ladder is a map with a lot of fog, and it really bothers me every time I play on it. That's in the team ladder. It just feels unnecessary to have overdone fog in playable area. Feels like everything is washed out. There's not as much color, and readability goes down a bit. Anyways, that's a QA thing, or not a QA, but aesthetics QA kind of stuff. Was this? This is... I'm just putting in some of my notes for different maps. I'm not really following... No, I'm not following... It's because people kept telling me to check out different maps. I kept looking at, like... I saw one map with, like, 56 seconds on main ramp distance. I was like, ooh, shiny. And then, I was like, oh, that's a pretty name. I'm going to look at that. Or I just keep noticing different things, and I just keep going from place to place. So, yeah, no, there's no rhyme or reason here. And then Hyper keeps wanting to see all the dynamic maps as well. I did do all the rush maps first, which is funny because we started off strong, but then we just really went off the deep end. Okay, what was it called? It was called Royal Garden. Royal Garden was right here. Okay, I added notes to it. Yep, it's great, honestly. It's much more fun to go completely out of order and wherever the heck I want. I was looking at Riptide, and I'm just double checking my last note. Interesting features that are worth that out. was this or over here? And because of that, I also keep losing track of where any map in the entire contest is, which is also funny. Did I read the description of which one? Royal Garden? Or what? Oh, read the description of, I am assuming the one I was looking at, Riptide. Riptide barely has a description, and yeah. Yes to any map? Yes, I have been reading the description. So what I've been looking at is the way I've been working here is I've been opening the image, taking just a brief look at it, and then opening the map maker comments, and then just kind of following along. I'll like read one line and then try to find that on the map to get a more comprehensive look at it. My bugs column used to be actual bugs, but now it's complaining about fog. Amazing. I have been looking less and less in depth at maps as I go along. Which, admittedly, yeah, no, I 100% saw it coming, but at least I'm still opening them all in the editor and testing for stuff, so. And I think I'm a little less harsh when I don't see every small issue with it. But, anyways, Riptide. Yeah, Riptide had very few comments other than water's not buildable. There's 2 mineral patches on the gases, and there's this mineral wall. And then I was just testing in game, and in game, if you're mining on this third, then you automatically start mining out. Well, that overrode that. You automatically start mining out the mineral wall. So if you're not paying attention, you'll just accidentally mine that out. Like this. And then they'll keep mining from it, which is really annoying because I'm assuming you don't always want to mine that out just from here, but that's a thing that could probably be fixed like it was in Neo. Or was it fixed in Neo? I don't know. I don't think it was. But yeah, they keep mining from this for quite a while. Does this still bounce? And is there a path through there? Technically, there might be a path through there to help path through it, but it is more of a bug thing, yeah. But it's just, oh wow, okay, that one still bounces. You would probably need to be pretty aggressive with how much you bug fix that whole area, because that was kind of a disaster. One of the big things with this one is, like, I can kind of understand it's cool to do the unpathable, or not unpathable, unbuildable on this. I understand just the general idea of a mineral wall. Like, yeah, but I don't, why are there the minerals on the gases on the third? There are 90 minerals apiece. I'm just not certain. There was no explanation for it, but I don't know. Depends on vision range of the worker that is bouncing on the normal. Wasn't it directly the number of tiles away it is as well, instead of the pathing? Like, it doesn't matter how far it paths. It matters a lot more how close just straight up it is, or something like that. I can't remember. Maybe it was 10 tiles away pathing. It was something like this. But yeah, ways to fix that. There are ways to fix that, rather. Miles away is vision range. Huh. Well, hopefully that would be fixable, but yeah. Tomato, tomato, potato, tomato. I mean, it's an alright map. It's relatively normal. Other than just these things. I guess there's the unbuild. Actually, it's a good question. Can you put creep on those? Potato, tomato. Oh, I just always say potato, tomato. Because it's funny in Megamind. Huh, he's still bouncing. Wow, that boy likes bouncing. Wow. Yeah, that's aggressive. We're gonna ignore the rest of that. Can I place this on here? I can place this down here. Yeah. Alright. It's always fun to have a water feature. I'm just kind of lukewarm. I mean, it's not bad. It's just, it's just a pocket third with a mineral wall. Pretty much. It's just solid. Drowning tumors. It'd be really funny if they just took 1 damage. They took 1 damage per minute. It's barely outpacing the healing. One damage more than they heal, rather, is what I mean. Anyways. I think I already put this on here. Did I? Yeah, I already put this on here. How does the description explain features? Well, the answer is no. The natural base is connected to a triangle third that has both gases blocked by minerals. The same third is also walled off with a large mineral wall that can be opened. Low-ground water puddles are not buildable, but do provide ample splashing opportunity. So it doesn't explain them, it just tells you what they are. I really like it when the description explains why features instead of just yeah. I mean, this one even kind of does a little bit of why. They're just it's kind of funny that they're defensive about the three spawn positions, but let's see. Was this the BF one? BF was interesting. I thought there was more in here. Like this one, Javelin had a really good description of its features. So Javelin has two 1x ramps in the middle of the map, which I do disagree with a lot. I don't think that's good, but they were good at describing why they had those. Their intention was a fast path across the map that is really risky. A fast path across the map that's really risky, and you have to make strategic choices or whatever, etc. Or risk the and then this is a great description, I think. Just straight up. I didn't love the map, but and I kind of disagreed with like I kind of feel like instead of this being a strategic choice on whether or not you want to go up a 1x ramp with a mid-game army, it's going to be faster to walk around because it's a 1x ramp. I think the times where the 1x ramp is actually an important feature of the map, it's just going to be a mistake trap where it's just like, oh, you accidentally right-clicked across the map forgetting about it. You're much slower, and you have a high risk of being caught and losing a lot, those kind of stuff. Especially, I think it's a huge noob trap. And then it also had these 1x ramps into the corners. Like, if there's a couple tanks or planetary over there, that's going to be insane. Yeah, I didn't love the main feature of this one. But it made it a lot easier to judge it because they gave a good explanation of exactly what they were trying to do. Instead of me just seeing those ramps and going, wait, what the heck? And then, potentially nuking. I think it helped a lot. Okay, what maps were new? Last Fantasy. There's not much to say about Last Fantasy. It's just kind of a solid map. I've actually played on it a good few times. Yeah, model description. Yeah. Be more like whoever that is. Let's see. Who was that? X. You can't tell immediately, but I have a really good good guess. I mean, that's for me though. The problem is not all of the judges even read the freaking map maker comments. But I feel like if you're going to take the time to write map maker comments, you could either put something like, this is a completely standard map and I slapped on a few things, or like, actually describe the things. Yeah, I'm not supposed to. I have a really good guess, but I'm not supposed to. But I feel like you should really just explain anything different about the map in it, instead of just kind of telling. I mean, you can just list what's there, but it's a lot better if you explain why that's there. Because I think a lot of judges, myself included, are idiots. And it's really nice for us to be told what you're trying to do instead of misinterpreting it. Like, the best example of that I can give is Deadwind. Because on Deadwind, I do not believe... This just sends me to the homepage of Imager, I think. Oh, there it is. That's odd. Let me just double check that they didn't say it anywhere. Oh my goodness, anywhere else. Okay. So they put it all the way at the bottom here. That's at least something. But on this map, what I was kind of getting at though was this speed zone over here. Immediately, I looked at that and I thought, well, that seems like it's supposed to be for mining speed, but we already know that that's not going to help with mining speed. But I guess they do mention it at the bottom of this. It's just that, why are there so many aesthetic pictures? What's going on? Why do I see Billy's? It's a little confusing with all the aesthetic pictures, but this is good. It's a lot of text to read. What was the extreme biggest ramp ever was funny? I doubted, and I was wrong. Let's see. Yeah, no, in the actual mapmaker comments, it doesn't mention why this right here. It only does that when I took a link in the image and then removed spaces. It's just a little bit better if this was in the original spot. I'm nitpicking at this point, and I've kind of gotten besides my point. Anyways, I've played on Last Fantasy a couple times already. I think been resubmitted a lot of times. The main difference from previous times is there's a lot fewer line of sight blockers in the middle, and there might be less acceleration zones. I'm not sure, but it's still pretty nicely choked up a little bit compared to some previous versions, if I remember correctly. Anyways, it was a pretty solid map, but it was really hard to take a third for some races. Anyways, well, not really hard, but pretty far. BF11 I already went over. I'm just going to be removing these. Royal Garden. Let's do Royal Garden. Let's see. So Royal Garden, I feel like it's kind of solid overall, but this third base is extremely wide open. This third base is really far away. And yeah, I've already gone over this. I've already looked at this a lot. I've actually already written up what I thought about it even. I already read the description. Unless you want to see the description as well. Basically, the description is that the triangle third has these conjoined rocks that block the gas and a very quick path into it. So you have to open up a second path into your nat to take any gas on that third. But you also get a much quicker rotation. And then there's this half-rich base that's forward and has 10s on them. My main complaint about this map was tied up in the forward third area. Basically, I felt like the forward third area was just messy. I didn't feel like it was super well made. The middle of the map is generally very choky and very hard to get flanks around and get stuff going. And then the sides of the map are generally super open, and especially this triangle third, which is the third that Terran would want if it weren't so huge, is the hybrid base a mineral wall or just more vulnerable? The hybrid base is not a mineral wall. Basically, it was kind of jank, but basically those trees right there, I think there's vision blockers in there, so I think it's basically just high ground extended. If that makes sense. If you put tanks anywhere on these high grounds, or if you put tanks like right here, or up on this high ground, it's all really messy. So I feel like Zerg's never going to take that base, or not for a long time. And I also felt like it might just be winner bases, because you kind of have to take a lot of the center. You've got 3 watchtowers as well. These 3 watchtowers are really rough, because these 3 watchtowers see literally every path on the map. And in order to sneak even a medevac anywhere on the map through, you have to hug the corners of the map. So as Zerg, I take these first 3 bases. I even get a nice rich gas and a lot more open room. If I have just both these watchtowers, I can see every incoming army pretty much, and all drops incoming, unless they go on the top. And then if I take that top one, then you're not getting anything through, really, just period. Yeah. The middle is choky, the outside was not. Terran doesn't really have a good third base option, is what I really felt like about it. And I feel like I could see a lot of just 2 base all-ins, because it's easier than having to deal with any of the map on this one. But it's kind of Zerg takes these 4 bases easy, I think. These 4 bases specifically are really open, really hard to push into or anything. Yeah. I think it was just alright. Right now I have a hesitant 2.5. I think I had it over in the kind of in the middle of mediocre maps. It would balance out the openness, but I mean, I'd be really concerned about that being the only thing Terran can do. And if it's just a two-base tank, two-base anything for Terran, it feels like it's going to be really boring. Because with how open this third is, how far away this third is, and that pretty much just leaves this is the only option. And this base can be really hard to. I feel like this base is just this whole area is really. I don't really like it. I feel like it isn't great. I feel like there's very few hazard. The whole center is kind of wonky for me. I don't generally like bases backed up to high ground that are hard to move around on. I guess non-standard might be the word I'm looking for here, but it's not a great kind of non-standard. I mean, it's not a terrible map, but I think it doesn't give a ton of options for play styles. And I think it'd be relatively boring, especially these watchtowers further the issues. Because holding those watchtowers is going to make the whole map a lot, just a lot easier to defend against anything. Like Zerg, if Zerg is pushed back and is like defending, then they can't really send around run-bys or anything if Terran has the towers. Really, the towers are the most important part of the map. I don't know. It wasn't my favorite, but it wasn't my least favorite either. Anyways. Royal Garden. Cobblestone is cobblestone. Next. Cobblestone, there was some... The proportions on this map are a little strange at times. There's some really... And the bloom is awful on this map. I can't believe... I remember seeing this map last time, and I remember seeing the bloom in the same way. The lighting is just awful. Hopefully that gets fixed at some point, but... I'm really just mediocre on this one as well. The area outside the NAT is also super wide open. There's weird... The chokes, seeing where the chokes are is kind of weird to me at times as well. I don't know. Needs more time to cook or whatever. There's nothing super wrong with it. It's just there's a lot of little things that I don't love about it. And then the freestyle, whatever, the freestyle feature of this map is just, it's alright. It's whatever. It's cool. I was really lukewarm on this one, to be honest. Yeah. Let's see, where did I end up putting it? I ended up putting it over here. Yeah. Gold Dust. Gold Dust was a different kind of problem. So Gold Dust, I didn't really have any complaints about the one except for the one freestyle the one freestyle feature. Jeez whiz. Basically, and I know it is kind of cheating to say this, but this is a super standard map, but slapped healing shrines onto the corners. It's pretty much all it is. And given that, I kind of feel like the biggest issue with healing shrines is going to be things like battle cruisers or stuff like that. Just, harassment units getting healed, I think is the scariest thing about them. Yeah, I think the two scariest things for the healing shrines is probably... Because I already feel like, healing shrines probably benefit Terran the most, or Terran and Protoss the most, obviously, but I think Terran a little more. Because they've got quite a few beefy units that are all HP that they have to repair or heal with medevacs already. So the two situations where Terran benefits the most from healing shrines are going to be when you can heal up harassment, or when you can heal up like your main bio army because it heals everybody at the same time. and that can really conserve just an enormous amount. Like, you can just start movement stimming all the time, and just really abuse a stim without having to worry about a medevac count and stuff like that. Yeah, it doesn't restore shields, and even if it did, you get those over time anyways. Zerg has transfuse already, so they kind of already have a free way of getting health back that they already use quite often. And everything else is a smaller unit that usually I feel like Zerg units kind of die like not one at a time, but like you don't usually have your entire Zerg army damaged. Maybe if Protoss was playing with Storm, a healing shrine in specific places could be extremely useful. Or maybe not extremely useful, just useful. But other than that, I don't think that Zerg benefits much other than maybe Broodlords or... Wait, creep heals? I thought it was just passive healing in general. No, I'm pretty sure it's just passive healing in general. I don't think it's creep that heals them. I'm fairly certain about that one. But yeah, that's kind of my point. Zerg already has a really slow passive heal on all their low HP, units. So they don't really need a healing shrine because they already have one. And besides, almost every Zerg unit, with the exception of healing shrines, with the exception of Ultralisks and Broodlords, don't have enough health to properly, I feel, benefit from the healing shrine. And with the Broodlords, they're too slow, I feel like, to benefit from the healing shrine. But with the Ultras, I definitely think healing shrines help a lot for Ultras. You slap those bad boys on those healing shrines, and that's significant enough to make a difference. For Protoss, Protoss is just going to be like, oh, that's nice. I can, go heal up my Robo units or my Sky Toss after I take a fight and I have a free moment, But I think Terran's the one that really, really loves it because battle cruisers, it would be great to heal up. Medevacs and drops and stuff would be great to heal up. Or just if the healing shrine if the healing shrine was just dead center of the map, for example, you could just be stimming all the time across the map and just walking through the healing shrine, which is why, as a side tangent real quick, I did not love the placement of them on... Where is it? Twilight Imperium, I believe it was. Is it enough to expand in the direction of the healing shrine vertically? I'm going to make this bigger. Wait, can I lock element? Oh my goodness. No. I'm trying to get this to expand so that I can actually click on this one thing in technical difficulties with chat that makes me keep missing messages or pieces of messages. There we go. I just went into my browser settings and deleted a part of the website so that I could properly read things. YouTube is very smart. Anyways, is it enough to expand in the direction of the healing shrine vertically? So like expanding like that to get closer to it. I don't think the benefit of the healing shrine I don't feel like is enough to expand in the direction of it and like expose yourself more. Like, I don't think that outweighs just having a better defensive position unless you maybe are playing mech or something. Because mech... The question is always for how the freestyle affects the decision making. Yeah, that's a good point. For mech, I think being able to like heal up all your Thors or battle cruisers or mech units always need to be repaired. And I think that's a significant enough thing to make Mech want to get closer to it, because Mech has never wants to just go randomly out of their defenses to go over to like a healing shrine or something. So maybe Mech on this one. But for Zerg, I think just when you get out Ultras, you're just like, hey, I'm going to just throw all those damaged Ultras on that healing shrine just cuz. But at the same time, you could just transfuse them, so that one doesn't really change much. For Protoss, it's just kind of like if it's there, it's great, I'll do that. Maybe with damaged carriers or a mothership or something. But really, it's not much. Healing shrines don't affect much unless they're positioned in specific ways. And in that case, I feel like healing shrines can often benefit Terran. So for this one, I think this healing shrine in general is just going to benefit Terran. Like, that where Terran's the only one that would play differently to use this, because they're the only one that could get a more substantial benefit from it. Regardless, it's not affecting the majority of the game, other than just harassment units are nice. On the flip side, like I was saying though, this map has healing shrines just in the center of the map. For this map, I didn't like that very much because Bio can just stim across the map and get healed on the way or just afterwards from nothing without using medevac energy in the centers here, which is insane. And that's one that it will actually maybe even substantially help during fights, because during fights, I mean, against like Ling Bane or whatever, you're kind of one-shotting all the Lings and stuff like that, or Banes or whatever. But also, side note, I tested it. I was curious. You can out-heal a Storm if you're standing in a healing shrine, which is very interesting. Unless you take extra damage, if you eat a huge Storm as Terran, then the healing shrine will save everybody if you're just standing there. Which is, yeah. Anyways, what was I looking for? Twilight Imperium. But yeah, I was just kind of lukewarm on Gold Dust as well, because of that. Really. Where did I end up putting it? I ended up putting it around here, which may be a little unfair, but I just feel like it's, not. It's just kind of a slap on in retrospect, not gonna affect the game much kind of deal. Anyways, as for the map itself, it's alright. It's pretty good. Admittedly, most of the time with a lot of, or a good portion of the time with a lot of these maps, I'm judging a little more heavily based off of how well implemented the freestyle feature is. Because small-ish balance issues are a little overlookable in the face of major changes like a lot of the freestyle changes are. What else did I have that was new? Genos. What the heck, Google Sheets? So I wonder who this is. Genos, my immediate thought looking at it was, why is this so open? Because there is not a single 2x ramp on the whole map. Yes, and we do already have a lot. Yep. I'm not necessarily nuking anything that I feel like is not freestyle enough. There's only one map, in fact, that I have felt that way. I didn't nuke a single map until I saw this map for not being freestyle, and I didn't necessarily nuke it. I gave it like a 1.5, but this map was really faith testing, because the only freestyle feature was a single mineral patch on this gas to prevent it from being taken. And otherwise, this is completely standard. We've seen this base layout at the very least tons and tons of times. apart from that, it's relatively minor changes on everything else. The biggest thing I think is that this linear third is awful because there's a really small choke leading into it, and otherwise you're just defending the high ground over here. I don't see how you're ever going to break that if the Terran takes that. But for the flip side, Zerg doesn't really have any flank paths as well. I admit, like, yeah, was talking to somebody else about this one. Saw a lot more of these, but yeah, it did nothing freestyle. I just didn't like this one, and this one really tested my faith in not nuking. So even if it didn't have any flaws and it was just an uber standard map, I feel like that's entirely against the purpose of this entire contest. Which, on the flip side of things, was it Crimson Court? I don't think it was Crimson Court. No, it wasn't. Crimson King is what it was. Crimson King was a map with no real, like, specific freestyle features, but I think it would play out very differently. So I actually really liked this one. The base layout is super different on this one. And I actually think this might be my favorite one so far. Yeah, I think this one's my favorite one so far. It's not the most freestyle thing, but it is very different still. Yeah, anyways. Genos. I felt like it was kind of undercooked, to be honest. It was, but also what I said was, yeah, there's no 2x ramps, there's no tight chokes in most of the map. I kind of questioned why anybody would use this top path if you can just kind of walk in front. This is faster, more direct, and it, apart from just flanking or anything, this feels like a flank path, but it's the size of a whole army. I guess you can also attack the back of the minerals here. I don't know, I was pretty lukewarm about this one. I also felt like this area of the map wasn't amazing in general. Yeah, it was just alright on it. Where did I end up putting it? I ended up putting it at the top of here. So I think these are all probably about ones. These are like 1.x to 2. These are 2.x to 3. These are 3.x to 4. 4.x to 5. Generally. Not specifically for every one of them, because I'm going to move some around, but I think that's generally what I've got. Though, yeah. At this point, I've kind of completely abandoned the scoring guidelines that they gave, because the scoring guidelines they gave are not centered around freestyle at all, or not necessarily that, but like, just because something is competitively playable doesn't mean it should be competitively played. Or doesn't mean it's interesting or good or anything. Anyways, moving on. Torches, or let's do Mycelium. Mycelium was really interesting. Mycelium, yeah. Well, so my opinions on each of these maps matter a lot more if I use the whole scale. If I use like all threes, then I'm not judging anything. Like, if I used all ones and fives, then if I kind of liked a map, yeah. If I'm just giving ones and fives, then I'm either nuking or I'm basically just trying to choose the finalist as much as possible. But I don't want, like for example, let's see, what's one over here? Um, the grid is a good example. I think the grid has issues. I think it's a good map, but I think it has some issues. I'm not gonna just give it a 5 because I think it's better than cobblestone. Like, would I rather cobblestone or grid to go? No, I'd rather probably grid to like win or something. But I'm not gonna give it that whole range. Anyways, I just think the whole giving an actual range of scores is actually makes your choices of how much you like a map meaningful instead of anything. Anyways, Mycelium was very interesting. I don't know why exactly we have the main ramp depositing to the middle of the natural mineral line. Admittedly, it's hilarious, but I don't know why. The mineral wall coming out of the main is also interesting. I kind of like that. They mentioned that it's got 42 minerals. It also was super cute. I saw over here, you've got tiny little deco over here saying like divided by 6 equals 7, so 7 trips. That was so cute. Like, not something to judge off of, but it was so cute. So they mentioned the rush distance shortens by 4 seconds if one player mines the golden minerals. Would you not like to see how that would be as a ladder map? You mean Mycelium, I assume? Yeah. I am morbidly curious, which is why it's in good maps. I think all of the features on the Nat work pretty well. Like, they're not bad. They're pretty good. The problem with the map is that I think the Nat is the only place where they showed a lot of interesting stuff and features and whatever, and then the rest of the map was crap. What do I do now? Is kind of the feeling I get from a lot of it. I don't feel like much of the map has very much going on. How excited would I be? I mean, if I'm just going by how excited I think people would be for the freestyle feature, let's see. Let me see. What do we have? This is a lot easier to look at. Then I think the most exciting feature, just straight up, if I'm wanting to... So I could also give a second list of peak comedy ratings. Like, in terms of peak comedy and actual how hilarious it would be to watch everybody lose their minds, then Winter Eagle would win everything. Because Winter Eagle is just... Winter Eagle, I feel like, does need to be shared. It's pure debauchery. Yeah, it's amazing. It's so amazing. Amazing in the way that it's hilariously bad, but amazing all the same. I did end up looking at this critically and like actually kind of peeling it apart a little bit and trying to see how it actually worked. But what I ended up thinking was like, so the intended goal was to make a semi-air map, or a map where everyone plays air, which is Cancer, admittedly. However, I don't even think it succeeds in making everybody play air because Terran Mech is going to be insanely cracked on this map. There's only 2 entrances to each side of the map, and 1 path along the middle. If Terran sieges tanks right here, they can hit the entire center of the map and this ramp. And then if they siege another tank in the very middle of the map here, they can deny this base and even hit the base. So, Terran Mech, but you only have 2 entrances to their side of the map, and you can't take the middle base, is just Cancer. Like, I feel like I have 4 years less to live now after seeing this map. It's so Cancer. Especially since one of these entrances is blocked off at the beginning. It's also a 2x ramp, which is one of the decisions of all time that could have happened. It's just really, it's very interesting. Like we see already with Red House how aggressively the pros are to get just defensive and just never and to start the first few minutes of the map like it's Heart of the Swarm and just macro up. This is just that on Uber steroids. It's peak. It really is peak. But instead, you just have all the pros playing like gold leaguers. Really amazing, honestly. Back to Mycelium, though. I think Mycelium's Nat is really cool, really interesting. I don't know why we're depositing in the middle of the Nat mineral line. I do think it makes interesting things happen, but I don't know why. They didn't really explain why. I don't know if there was an intent there, which honestly, funny. As for the ramp, the ramp just that lets you get faster movement to the other side of the map, that is cool. I like that. I can see obviously the reason. This map would have been funny with a backdoor to the main. I mean, it already is pretty funny. But I think, and these rocks are kind of interesting, but I think the main place, and I think these minerals are very well done. You, as the defender, you're going to be the one to want to mine these out. Oh, you're talking about Winter Eagle. Winter Eagle is already funny enough. You know? We don't want a funny overload and just kill people on the spot. It's like Monty Python's funniest joke in the world. Anyways, you might be behind on the stream. I just think that Mycelium's inspiration really dies down past these first 4 bases. But I think the feature here and the feature here are really well done. This feature is confusing, but admittedly funny. And then the rest of the map is just kind of weak in comparison. There's not a lot going on. And there's, honestly pretty, it feels relatively bland as well. Just, I thought at the very least you could just slap some line of sight blockers over here, but... I could have sworn there were some line of sight blockers in the middle. When I opened the map, I believe there were. But yeah, it's an interesting. What's it? Mycelium is an interesting map, but I don't think it's the most amazing one. What am I doing? I will be right back. How does it influence decision making? I put it in good maps because I think at least you can attack the back door. Yeah, later on into the game, yeah, you can open all that up. And I think taking out that back door as the defender and then expanding in that direction is also really interesting. Actually, for late game, this is actually pretty good. Because in later game... Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, is this 8 bases per player? It's an extra... Yes. Yeah, maybe I'll move it up a little bit. But really, I would rather... So another key factor here is that there's gonna be more TLMCs, or at least I'm very certain there is gonna be more TLMCs. And I think that this map could be improved quite a bit. A bit off of what it is now. I think the map outside of the first few bases, I think, is the weakest point. Well, obviously it's the weakest point. the main in that, and then the thirds here, or the I guess that's not third, but you get the idea. But yeah, I think the rest of the map is relatively weak, and I think that could be very, very much improved. But yeah, I think it's a great feature, and I want to see more of the feature. Another feature I've been wanting to see more of in the other maps. 1 second, I gotta check this. Anyways, another feature I want to see more of is on Deadwind and Gilded Veins. They're both of the mains on these maps have 2x ramps into the mains, which is just there. It exists for some reason. I really feel like both these maps are tech demos. They have a lot of features going on. Like Deadwind in particular has 2x ramp in the main with rock on it to make you be able to wall off like normal. It's got 2 ramps into the Nat where you can kind of wall off like normal. It's got a bunch of conjoined rocks to etc. You've got plates on the ground to stop from placing more like PFs and stuff. You've got rocks on this expansion. You've got conjoined rocks in the center. You've got a super big ramp. You know, you get the idea. There's an acceleration zone on the base to make faster rotations. The list just keeps going on. And there's so many different features, and I'm not sure any of them are particularly like a couple of them are compelling on their own, but I feel like there's a ton of them and they don't necessarily work together. Oh yes, and the gas. I even forgot the gas in the main. There's a rich gas in the main that you have to destroy rocks on essentially to take. Smorgasbord. I forget what that means. But yeah, this map and the other map are both pretty good tech demos, but I feel like they don't use a lot of the features very well in the first place together coherently. They don't form a coherent map. It's just tech demo in the main, tech demo on the main ramp, tech demo on the Nat ramp, tech demo at the thirds, tech demo at the fourths. It's like every piece of this map has some other thing. Smorgasbord. Report. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a tech demo buffet, and I feel like it has very little cohesion because of that. It's just there's kind of a limit to how much freestyle you can take at a single point, and this map would have been so much better if it hadn't tried to destroy my brain by having a freestyle feature in every square inch of the map. But my favorite one of them is probably this feature. Well, let's see. Is it my favorite? Yeah, probably my favorite one of them is this feature. Main ramp is 2x and has a single rock on it to let you wall off like normal. But on this map, it is hot and cold dishes. On this one, it is, I believe it's 200 or 400 HP and like the normal amount of armor. I gotta go let somebody's at the door. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Yeah, shut up, Piper. You know nothing. Absolutely nothing. Anyways. But yeah. This one has a rock at the top of the 2X that is like 400 HP, like I think it was 103 armor, whatever. It's basically a supply depot. Gilded Veins has one that's like 2k HP, and I think 3 armor. Both of them are just tech demos in their respective maps because there's no real reason for them. But maps like, I don't know, where were we? Here it is, Kill Switch. Map like Kill Switch would really benefit from it, I feel like. To have a normally wallable ramp in the main to the NAT here, but it's 2x, and then the defender could like destroy the rocks on that, or the mineral wall, potentially, and then be able to rotate through their main easier. Because there's quite a few maps this TLMC that encourage players to rotate through their main after walling out some kind of mineral wall or backdoor and stuff. And for those that are specifically wanting the defender to be able to rotate, I feel like having that extra ramp space would be quite nice. That you can open up later. That's one of my biggest things that I've really kept looking at things and being like, oh, that'd be nice to add. And then post-youth, I mean, it exists. Anyways, moving on from that. What was I just on, though? I don't even know before I left. It is kind of funny, though. Gilded Veins and the other one, Deadwind, have both been going down further and further down my list as more maps are added, because I keep thinking, well, the tech demos aren't a great example of just a cohesive good map, but they are, they were really cool at first, but then it wore off as I saw actual good implementation or cohesive implementation of maps. Anyways, did I put Riptide in here? Oh yes, so torches, we'll do torches. Torches. So I was just double checking something about the description. So with torches, at first I saw this rich gas and I was like, wait, what? Why? Why is it over there? Why not just put it on that triangle third? Like a normal person. But then I realized, wait, no, it's supposed to be shared with the rich base. And now I like it a lot more. That would have been something that would have been really nice to know in the comments. Like, the rich gas is there so that you can take, a normal amount of gas for the gold, or you can trade out the gold minerals for a third gas on the normal base. So it's an actual trade-off that has meaning, instead of just, I believe the comments just mentioned that it was there. Yeah, it's there, it's there. So that would have been something really nice to put in the comments, because if I hadn't gone back to this map a second time after looking at it the first time, I wouldn't have quite realized that it was intended to be taken for either of these bases. So, there's that. That said, I think I do really like it. Description fail. We'll get him next time. I do think I really like the layout, though. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's, and actually my favorite part of it, now that I realize that it's physically existent, is that you can either trade a very risky gold patches, which, honestly, it's funny, but I wouldn't be opposed to it being 8 patches there, if it weren't for the fact that you actually have to mine this wall out to get to here first, so both players have to opt into the debauchery here. So it's fine, especially with a rich gas, but anyways, let's strike that from the record. I was going off on a random tangent here because it's funny and it's fun. Um, I really like the trade-off of rich minerals or extra gases. I think that's a really cool trade-off. And Ness is now probably one of my favorite parts because both players kind of opt in and it's like, debauchery time, and then they both, you know, yeah. Or you can just kind of not opt in and instead potentially let them have a gold base with a rich gas, which would be very scary. It's kind of like a more modern redshift, honestly, with this part. And I also think that this is probably the most successful. There's been 2 or 3 maps with shared bases of minerals. Like, it's like, oh, you can mine this from either side of the minerals. This is the only map I've seen so far that does that successfully, in my opinion. So that's quite nice. There's some QA stuff, like there's some weird stuff going on with some of the minerals down here, if I remember correctly when I was looking at it in the editor. There is some asymmetry on both of the mineral patches, which would be nice to fix. But it doesn't really matter that much, being honest. Also really cool that mining those is also opening yet another path. Generally, I think this one's one of the much better ones. Actually, what were my complaints? I'm completely, honestly, right now, I'm completely forgetting what my complaints were with it. This was one of my 3 a.m. ones. It's marked as such. No, it's not marked over here. This was one of the ones I looked at 3 a.m. and I was just, having a good time. And I think I placed it before realizing this could be mine from either side. But yeah. Ironically, more golden wall than golden wall. Because all the wall is golden. How do you make the gold? It's just... Actually, wait, can you even? I mean, hilariously, if they were 8 patches... but I'm not suggesting that because that's stupid. But, actually, there's no gases over here either. Huh. Oh, we've got the opera one. I need to open this again because I remembered seeing a way to make them more symmetrical when I was in there. I love how I've got 2 copies of every map. Even if you delete one from my PC, you'll never delete the second one. Besides, I have 2 hard drives and I've got copies of almost every map on both hard drives at this point. They thought they could just delete the drive links afterwards. They failed to understand my power. I guess they're asymmetrically symmetrical, but this one is more or less important than this one. Also, comedy movement. I believe you can pop a worker through right here. This comedy moment was brought to you by State Farm. I'm trying to remember how, but I'm kind of blanking. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, that's very nice. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's good. With the pilot trick, yeah. I actually quite like this one, to be honest. Normal amount of gas, double checking. I am super paranoid about people sneaking in more gas than normal and not saying anything. It's kind of funny. I think I have a rare form of gas psychosis. Been smoking that kerosene. Okay, so in retrospect, I got nothing because the pylon trick works from both sides. Wait, what? What is going on? I'm only selecting one of them. Oh, I see. Symmetry. I mean, technically that might be a little bit more symmetrical. Yeah, symmetry kicks in, yep. Yeah, technically this could be more symmetrical. It's just the only symmetry now is right here and right here. Honestly, yeah, it's not an issue. The number of situations that would be changed by that are extremely low, and the only thing that would be changed by that was that you could potentially fix. You could potentially get a little bit more range from units right here or something like that. It's just kind of like the number of games that would affect would grossly depend on how many people actually take this base, but tanks can't go as far into the minerals. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But honestly, I mean, let me see. What is... I would think you would want to place it here. The most far back you would want to place it is about here. And tanks are going to hit that either way. And tanks are not going to... If tanks are here versus here, it matters very little. But yeah, I do think that that's something that would be QA phase. I just feel like there's no real reason to have asymmetry anyways. It wouldn't change anything like game to game, but you never know. I don't think that can hit that. Huh, nice. And then, of course, your other options over here, which is actually a little bit further. Yeah, it would be an edge case, yeah. Which is why it's not really an issue. How much are these again? Also, one thing that I really like with map comments is when people list how many resources are in their mineral walls. It's just something that's really nice, because when I'm looking back at maps, I guess this is really a problem because I'm much more thorough, but when I'm looking back at maps, I sometimes either forget or whatever. Sometimes the symmetry doesn't kick in. So symmetry doesn't kick in when you're putting in... come on, editor. Symmetry does not correctly adjust the mineral values. And there are 2 maps so far that have had different mineral fields depending on which side of the map you're on. And for those, like one side of the map was 5 and the other was 10 on a mineral wall. And it was important to know which one was the intended one, because obviously it changed a lot of things. I mean, it just removes any risk of QA like that if you just put it in the comments. Then I know what you mean. Anyways, it's a really minor complaint. I don't know if anyone else would care, but you would adjust with Control-Shift-A. I mean, buggy, I don't know if it's I wouldn't call it buggy. I think I would say that it's just something that can accidentally select a lot more than you wanted, right? I think that, and I'm actually thinking, the more I'm looking at this, the more I'm liking it again. It's this thing where I keep looking at some maps, the more I look at it. Almost every map, the more I look at the map, the less I hate it. Because, like, even Winter Eagle, I hate less now than I did before. Oh, wait, is that true? I mean, mech moment, but... Irregardless, I think it'd be really cool to see Zerg grapple with the implications of not going really strong 3-base muta or getting a gold with a rich gas. Just watch their little heads explode. I say this as a Zerg. I have a very small head. Or brain. I have a bad brain, really. Anyways. Irregardless. It is a word, irregardless of what you think. Also, I have a friend who says it, like, unironically. And now I just keep making fun of him by using it. Ironically. A lot of I words in there. Anyways, actually, been kind of vibing again. Ooh, I might move that up more later. That just skyrocketed. Anyways, let's see. Pacific Rim. I thought I already did Pacific Rim. It was Sacred Isle I was thinking of. Well, okay, but enough people say... So here's the thing about language. Language is entirely based off of what people think and what people say. So I think that enough people say anyways to make anyways an actual word. Let me Google this, actually. Sanu. Non-standard form of anyway. Look! Definition from Oxford Languages. It's a non-standard one. Oh boy. Oh me, oh my. See, wait, wow, this graph is interesting. Can I... Wait, can I compare? Is there a button to compare? This is good enough. Wait, anyways is actually more popular than anyway? This is 0.64 now. Point 00, so 4064. No, it's very much not. Okay, non-standard is just the code for dumb. Really? You're gonna play that card? You're going to attempt to play this card with me? Really? Okay. You know, freestyle doesn't mean stupid. Is that what we're going for? You know? Anyways. Anyway is used quite a bit. Wow. But look at this graph. Who's gaining popularity here, you know? You know? The graphs, they don't lie, you know? That's actually really fascinating. Apart from this brief linguistic, you know, it technically does, right? Add reaction? What is this? It's got these reaction things that are really cringy. Oh wait, no, you got these. Or, you know, Pinocchio. You've got the Pinocchio emote. You know the classic Pinocchio emote? Start a poll. What's it? Does freestyle mean stupid? This is fun. Yes, 100%. Can I give a vote? I cannot give a vote. We're just gonna leave that up. Anyways. Oh, now I get to rejoice in the salt. Man. I made myself right. Well, you know. It's too bad I can't vote. That's what I'll say. I think it is very funny. Why does YouTube... I want to turn off auto-moderator. Community moderation. I should not open that in a normal. It tried to censor you saying "suck it," which is really funny. Anyways, moving on. Sacred Isle. Or no, let's do Pacific Rim again. Pacific Rim was pretty simple. For Pacific Rim, it was pretty good. My only complaint was... My biggest complaint was that... So island bases are usually Terran favored. This map's attempts to... And I'm actually not reading this off anywhere. Let's see. Yeah, I already read that a while ago. This map attempts to solve the problems, and I'm actually just giving them their notes for next TLMC, I guess, if this doesn't make it this one. But this map attempts to offset the advantage that Terran has in an island-based scenario from just being able to lift up and move to an island base with a command center, by making it so that there are air blockers preventing movement to the island base with, just flying buildings in general. That's kind of the thesis statement on this one. The rest of the map, there's a good, pretty wide open area on the bottom right to help compensate for the advantage Terran does still kind of have from an island base. But part of the problem with island bases is that Terran, so any race that takes an island base only has to defend it from air, and in normal games... Okay, let's see. How do I organize these thoughts here? So first off, Zerg is always at a disadvantage with island bases, pretty much irregardless, because so in a normal game, Terran makes medevacs, Terran can fly their buildings, and makes other air units very often, like Liberators or Banshees in some cases, and etc., or Battlecruisers, or whatever. They make all those units kind of regularly, but they always make medevacs. Protoss, almost every game, will also make, in a normal, kind of macro game or whatever, where this island base would come into consideration, Protoss also always makes warp prisms, so Protoss can also get to the base. But Zerg is the only race where they actually have to invest money or time into making dropper lords to go over to that base. And in order to move quickly or assault or do anything to the base, they either have to go into Aspire, or they have to go for the Overlord Speed, which is further investment, or a Nidus. A Nidus also works. But I think the main problem with this one is twofold. The first, Zerg is at an automatic disadvantage because of balance reasons from getting onto or harassing or moving around with island bases. And the second issue is that with those air blockers, an unintended second effect, thank you for the no vote, whoever that was. Well, actually, what side am I on the freestyle means stupid thing? Anyways, one of the unfortunate side effects of the air blockers on an island base like this is that it also bunches up any incoming air units into a very small area, which makes it easier to defend the island base as well. So if you have maybe I won't say storms for this, but like Widow Mines or missile turrets or anything, units are just slower to get into this island base. Slower to exit, and you bunch up. Widow Mines are very, very good if you just put a couple Widow Mines on this base. If you made a planetary with 4 to 6 missile turrets and a couple of mines, or even not the mines, the point really is, I feel like you could defend that base without having any army supply on it for Terran, still. And even, ironically, more so because of this. And I don't know how Zerg would go about attacking that. If you also even had... Oh gosh, there's another one. If you also even had a Liberator or a tank on this base, then harassing it with Nidus Lurkers or dropped Lurkers or stuff like that will also be extremely difficult if you got in the first place. So, that pretty much is just... What is the point of this poll? We already know the answer. Well, it was funny, okay? So the base pretty much is going to go to whoever can establish it first. Another thing about it is that right now stalkers can blink onto that island base, which is also makes it significantly harder for Zerg to take again, and also harder for Terran to take. But really, yeah, Zerg has for options for breaking that are dropped units, Nidus, Yutas, Broodlords, or Corruptors. For Corruptors, if there's missile turrets, it's not a good response. For Broodlords, that's late game. That those can only come out. And Mutas are a doable thing, but forcing a singular playstyle, it wouldn't be forcing a singular playstyle, but a couple Widow Mines and a bunch of missile turrets, that's going to be really rough to break. For drops would probably be the best one, but you could pretty much commit minimal units to defend that if you establish it. So it'd be attempting to make sure that the enemy never establishes that base is the big hard part of that, because once that base is established and they're defending it with just a few units or a bunch of stag defense, etc. They can then pretty much turn their attention to the rest of the map, and having a safe and secure single base just up there that doesn't even have a ground path is amazing for Terran on an otherwise normal-ish map, which is why this bottom right side of the entire side of the map being very, very open, or not very, very open, but relatively open, that helps a good chunk, with the bases also being pretty far away from each other. That helps significantly because Terran is basically just going to be able to turn their attention to the rest of the map and not have to worry about that gold. I don't know if Zerg will ever be able to keep that gold as well. And also, you've got the other problem where islands for Zerg are also APM intensive, because you can't just, for example, recall workers there or recall workers out. Hatcheries are your production, and you have to... hatcheries are your production, which means you're building units off of it. That island base is going to be basically just... I don't think anybody would produce off of that. If you do, of course, for newer players, you're not going to be able to F2, and some pros also F2, but... it's just always really awkward APM and otherwise for island bases, which is kind of an argument against all island bases for a lot of this. Overall, I think that the air blockers help a bit, quite a good bit, with offsetting the issues, and I think the rest of the map design being more sparse bases and a little more open on the rest of the map is also quite helpful. Which is why I don't think it's bad, but... Anyways, there's my thesis on island bases. And I actually feel like it'd be really nice to, before we try to have island maps in future TLMCs or anything, I think it'd be great to get something with the Balance Council together to make it so that Zerg could have some viable option, or more viable option for navigating islands in general. I don't know what that would look like, but I don't know if it would be entirely balance-wise that would happen, because I think a lot of the problems with islands are APM issues, because islands are extremely APM intensive for Zerg, and not nearly so much for the other races. Zerg only has one air-to-ground attacking unit. Really. That's like designed for combat, you know what I mean? And that's the Broodlord. Mutas are not really meant for combat, they're meant more for harassment. But it is a very tall order. It's just that I think currently, and I actually think the last balance patch actually helped, I think, considerably with, I can't remember, what did they do exactly? I can't remember exactly what they did with the Dropper Lords, but I think that already helps. There's a note over here. Deceleration speed. No, that's not it. Oh yeah, so Dropper Lords are basically just a little bit faster by default, a little bit faster with pneumatized carapace, and are more responsive to stopping and starting. So that those three changes, I think, already made Dropper Lords a lot more viable for island play. I think that's really important. Which is why I already think better of islands. But I think if we're wanting to do islands more, then I think, one easy potentially solution that you could do is, remember in like Wings of Liberty or something, we had the upgrade that just made all overlords able to hold units. Like, it turned all overlords into dropper lords with the upgrade. Honestly, if you just added that, I think that would make a huge difference for being able to play on island maps for Zerg. Because if I remember correctly, the cost for a dropper lord was either 25-25 or 50-25, which doesn't matter in any game where you're just trying to set up like a Doom drop with Zerg, or just kind of side drops and stuff, just small scale stuff. But in an island map where you would be using them a lot, I think that would end up mattering quite a bit. Also, give overlords boost. Funny. But yeah, I think a lot of it could be very small changes, and ideally we would be making changes that would only affect really island kind of maps. As for hatcheries, for me, for hatcheries on different bases, is the fact that you can't have a single place of production unless you're building air units. Uh-oh. What's going on? Oh boy. My streaming software is not... Okay, there we go. Weird glitch there. But, yeah, I think there are some things that could be done to really make it so that Zerg could be a lot more competitive on island maps. But, yeah, most focus... That's because we got the magic ADHD juice, okay? And also I prepared a lot more by actually judging the streams off camera here. Judging them off camera and then kind of going over what I think about them has been a lot better here. Yeah, okay. But yeah, I think that you're prepared. Let's see. Yeah. Here are the scores pretty much. I haven't been recording them, and because this is a lot easier to move around, but this is pretty much what the scores are. Bottom of each category is the lowest. So this is like 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. No. This is like 0 to 1, so just all ones. 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5. Pretty much is what I'm going to end up doing. And then you can pretty much just take this as a pure spectrum, I guess, if you want to interpret scores from this, I'm still moving stuff up and around all the time, but that's pretty much... It'd be funny if I gave the exact decimals for the exact placement of each map, which actually I could do. Irregardless. But yeah, I think there are some small balance changes that we could make to make Zerg a lot easier to play on island maps, and that would be very exciting to see. Yeah, there you go. There's my thesis, I guess, or whatever. And I think that, yeah, this right here is a big step in that direction. Oh no, the internet again. My computer's been having issues with internet for a long time. I'm still missing a bunch of maps. Yes, I am. I am missing a good few, or about 4 or 5 of them in standard, and a bunch of macro. Most of macro is not in. No, most of macro, and a good bit of dynamic. I believe I've got about 50. So I'm missing about 20 of them now. So, but yeah, I really feel like for the next TLMC, the biggest things we could do for island maps specifically, because I think island maps are a really interesting concept, would be, number one, those worker-only paths, and number two, because the worker-only paths by themselves make the macro so much easier for every race and make it so much more about playing the actual game instead of ferrying workers from base to base. That would be absolutely amazing. And then the other thing is the transport overlords. Just something to do with them or Niduses or whatever. For a while, I had some idea about Niduses being able to unload based on the cargo size of whatever unit they're unloading, but that's completely separate. So, like, an Ultra would take more time than a Zergling kind of thing. But that's a completely separate conversation that I'm not here for at the moment. Anyways, Hyper is here. Hyper, you want a dynamic map? Oh wait, I'm supposed to be doing... Okay, so I went over Pacific Rim. I'm supposed to be doing this. Now we're getting distracted. Insomniac Doze was interesting as well. You're supposed to be looking at Wild Ark. I will never look at Wild Ark. Insomniac Doze. Wait, why is Sacred Isle a different text color? That was weird. Sacred Isle I also looked at. Sacred Isle was interesting-ish. I don't know. Sacred Isle I like the mineral walls of. I looked at this a little while back and it was 3 a.m. as well. What were the comments? I can't even remember the comments at this point. Tight jokes combined with these. Honestly, so far, by the way, the best image hosting site for just quality of life features has been Google Drive. With Google Drive, it's super nice because I can like zoom in and stuff. Anyways. Expansion. This was a good, yeah, now I remember this. This was a good, good comments too. Oh yeah, and we can look at Coral. Yeah, this is by the way, this Sacred Isles was a pretty good standard, relatively standard map with just a nice feature here. I liked it. It was just a good one. I also liked that there was a Hyper 1 decal in multiple places on the map, despite not being made by Hyper. Everyone knows the infamous Hyper 1 decal. Corral. Time for aneurysm. And this is where, if anybody's watching this just for the good, succinct focus stuff, this is probably where we're going to trail off on that front. Because, I mean, look at this. What is going on? We've got a Gwengali Beach 2 Electric Boogaloo. I believe this was posited as another semi-air map. Yep, semi-air map. They're like, yeah, it's technically not an island map. Because you can go by direct ground to your opponent. The map features terrain that is more difficult to navigate by ground than by air, which is usually something that I use when talking about Blizzard maps, as well as bases that can only be reached by air. Being a semi-air map, the map is not a true air map, because it... No, I read wrong. And that your opponent can be reached by ground, however... Wait. What? Okay, so they repeated themselves. So the very first sentence in this description says the exact same thing as the second sentence, but it's just rephrased. And then they also rephrase it a third time. Does freestyle mean stupid? Dang, I should have ended it when it was 50-50. This just in, freestyle means stupid. Start Q&A. I can start a Q&A. Huh. Pockets of unpathable terrain, third base behind rocks, island bases, mirror symmetry. Mirror symmetry is technically a map feature. This, no one can accuse this of not being interesting. But for me, it gives me more of an existential crisis. I don't think I've opened it in game yet, actually, or in editor. Already closed it. Man, having a curved screen is so weird. I keep like. Yeah, the curved screen is really whack. Yeah, okay, so it's exactly what I thought. Okay. In terms of visual clarity, that is. What? No way. I thought that was just pathing paint. That was just really unfortunate. Huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. These are all pathable, by the way. So this area... Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. No, surely this isn't... Surely not. Oh yeah, because mines too. Funny. Yeah. Even from the overview, surely not. This is now watch brain rot stream. Yeah, it's normal. You're okay. Well, this we have to play this one now. This actually looks really good over here, though. Well, except for the rocks, which are a completely different texture and level of model quality. By the way, they're in the if you want to do a model swap on models on like these rocks, because these rocks are super outdated, then there are what was it SMX rocks is the like tag in the editor, but it's these models for I think the models were made in either Legacy or Heart of the Swarm, and they're basically these rocks, but a much higher quality, and they look a lot better with everything else. So there's your tip. Was mankind ever meant to come this far? Have we gone too far? Do we need to go back? Holy cow. Look at that. Did not know that doodad was that detailed. This is the in-game view. It would be nice to get a little fog or something going on. It is a pretty map for the most part. Like there are weird portions of it that are really pretty, like this portion. Yeah, the aesthetic is quite nice in most places. Did I already launch this in the other? Nope, I'm just gonna dock myself instead. This looks clean. I don't like this one, this part. Well, let's get rid of that, especially with the hatch on it. With the hatch not on it, I still don't. Those trees are pathable. If you mean these, but also these. Pretty much all trees are pathable. It's concerning. Oh, that's funny. Wait, what? Why is it gone? Speed 1900. Might have gone a little bit overboard there. What's going on with the main? This is going on in the main. And it's good that at least Creep destroys all those. But they're probably going to be there for the other races, which is not good. Yeah, Little Mines. Why am I waiting? Yeah, it shrivels up and dies. That's beautiful. Okay. Why is my camera so zoomed in? This feels so wrong. Are the trees side blockers? No. And should I be using something faster than a queen? Yes. Yeah, so these are just completely, you can walk through these completely. This is concerning. This is really concerning right here. Really? You can't find a tank anywhere in there? Creep kills the plants, which is very nice. Oh, it even kills these, which is cool. It's a nice little side fact. Cool fact number 1. Creep. Funny that the hedges stay alive. Doesn't kill these though. I'm getting distracted. Can I build on them? Yes, I can. They're literally non-existent. Like these trees, they're not interacted with at all. They're pure decoration from what it looks like. But I'm not sure if they're supposed to be pure decoration, you know? Hopefully not. This is a really, really good tank spot if they are pure decoration. Let's get that paint back. Like all of this is all the perfect size storm. Cineplex. Diablo the musical. I would go see Diablo the musical. And then you've got this. Also, is the music good? Is it too loud, too quiet?
You require my skills.
Oh boy, is that a choke point.
I serve for now. You move unseen.
So you've got...
Very well.
Alright. It will be hilarious if I get copyright struck, though.
It shall be as you say.
Mineral field depleted.
I'm not sure this does a great job of making sure that people play air. Like, you do have these island bases, but those are just island bases. I feel like this might be good for Zerg, I say hesitantly.
Game resumed. Some more. Mineral field depleted.
Time to watch me macro for 5 minutes, when I could have just been make unit hatchery.
Mineral field depleted.
Okay, yeah, no, you can't really hit that.
Game resumed.
Yeah, still can't hit much.
Now what?
Game.
I mean, it's weird. It's really weird that you have some areas that are so enormously wide open, but then all of the more important places do have kind of normal chokes going into them. I'm mostly concerned about these trees. I don't know. I don't know if those are supposed to be unpathable or if they're not. And I think that makes a big difference because of these points right here, especially. And of course, there's a bunch of places over here. What are the bases? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 per player. It's not dynamic. They're not meant to be interactive. Okay. Then I think that they should be changed in some way. I don't know. Like, yeah. But it's a bit odd. It's a bit odd that they would be placed right here. Over here it makes sense if they're just flavor. But over here, that's an odd place to put flavor because they do feel like over here that they're more of a blocker type deal. Then again, the whole map is very open. But surrounds are kind of hard to get in a lot of places. Are they? Kind of. Oh wow. Overall, I just kind of feel like Zerg might just have a good time here. I don't know. Let's see. You put tanks back here.
Game resumed.
Tank, you're coming to me.
Confirmed. Here's your stop.
At the very least, they should probably get occlusion, force occlusion, so that they're not that weird.
Field depleted.
Okay, you can hit this. That's interesting. Okay. It's very, very openly spaced. So it's really odd how far every base is away from each other. Like, how many tumors is this even? This one might be the only. The first 4 bases might be the only normally spaced base. Yeah, a little more than 2 over there. No, a lot more than 2 over here. The first 4 bases are relatively normal, but then the 5th is where you just fall off the planet. It is now. I've been doing it uniformly. It's funny. I also do it to upset people, so get wrecked. Am I on? I'm still not on symmetry. Why am I not on symmetry? There is. Uh-oh. I don't know what to think of this one. I think I'm just afraid. But these 5ths are. This is very strange. What? I need more chicken nuggets for this. This is super open. This is super choked. I don't think Terran would ever move on this side, but also this is so small. It is funny. Oh, do they have the... Okay, these still pop up on top. Okay, I'm just curious about the aesthetic of that. Huh. Well, also we know why the symmetry tool isn't working, is because there are no symmetry. Most of the issues here with the aesthetics and stuff are QA stuff, but I don't love the base layout that much. Especially not with a super safe 3rd, relatively speaking. Does this stop people from playing... One of the bigger questions for me is, does this stop people from playing ground? Like, ironically, one of the things that makes things worse for air units is having a lot of space from X distance to X distance. And the thing that you can do to make it a lot worse is, just removing rotations. But, I need to move on because my brain is broken and I need to think about this later. Might actually take another break. Dang it. I hate how it can't just be a meme ever. It has to have... It always is like a little more complex. But I don't think this is amazing. Just in general. I guess they are trying to somewhat even balance out the distance of bases. The distance of bases from each other does make air weaker again, maybe even? I don't know. It's odd. But, like, I mean, in this area, if you have like a bunch of bio or whatever, you can kind of just chase them down to a degree. Although not if they go right here. Yeah, no, that's obviously what that was intending to do. I don't know. This is so taking away the decoration issues. Most of what I worry about for island type maps is it's just kind of Zerg, but I don't know if that's as much of an issue on this one. Because it's like you do kind of have ground paths everywhere. Terran doesn't have a lot of great air options other than just battle cruisers and stuff. But battle cruisers. Well, no, I completely disagree with everything I said. Anyways. I will look at Wild Ark. My brain has been properly introduced. Again. Do I already have it downloaded? I should. Wild Ark. Uh-oh. I did not close this one. So, last time I attempted looking at Wild Ark, it also broke my brain. And I've thought about it a little bit. Or not a little bit, but I've thought about it a bit. The idea is you can do the thing where, I guess Snowy Mesa kind of has this where you can block off your natural entirely, or you can block off the enemy natural if they didn't also collapse it. And then Black Lotus also kind of had this, but removed it. Cancer is the reason I'd cite for that. The idea, I guess, is that... Well, the listed idea is that you isolate the gnat and block the gnat at the same time. Which doesn't work. Because any time where you can destroy these cooling towers is also a time where you're already going to have a gnat, apart from extreme niche scenarios. And then it'll just be doing 500 damage to the gnat. I believe these have 1,000, or 2,000 rather, HP. This decoration in the main actually looks a lot better in game. It doesn't look bad here either.
Not enough minerals.
$500 HP, 3 armor. Yeah, 500 damage. And then it blocks off the front with 2k HP rocks. I just don't see any scenario where this rock right here makes any kind of difference whatsoever. can't restart like that. I'm wondering if I have like a pylon blocking the base. Yeah, I guess that would be the one. The one I'm thinking maybe if I like pylon blocked like the opponent's natural, and then I like, what would you follow that up with? Maybe like pylon. Maybe you could pylon block and then like proxy immortal or something. The description did not explain it very much. Let's see. Destructible towers that the natural can completely isolate as well as block the second base. There are additional option for third base, golden base, which can also be blocked by towers. Watchtower at the center can be controlled from both sides of the wall. This is that gold base, by the way. Huh. Which is also this works as intended, I would say. It's 500 HP. You can come over here. You can kill that. Not sure that could really be taken as a third, but yeah. So we're gonna get a pylon over here. So yeah, if you like pylon blocked and then you made 5 immortals. Well, yeah, you know what I mean, but yeah, now they can't get their nat for quite a bit longer. I mean, this is my best guess as to something like this. But it would take a specific build order to do this. The only bright side I can think of, well, actually no, they're gonna have a third out on the map if you block their nat. Or they'll have cleaned it up by the time you can come in here. Then you're going to be having to shoot. I mean, you can shoot at like one of these two to try to knock this one. But I'm not seeing a lot of situations where this ever triggers. So I don't think the feature here works very well. It's kind of cool. It's whatever. That's man-made. Man, immortals do a lot of damage. Yep, how I expected. This one is much more interesting of an idea. Hi. Just looking at this map, Wild Ark. I think this is pretty low on my list. It's definitely freestyle, but I mean, the intention is to be able to deny the nat and then stop them from moving out, I guess, is maybe it. I could kind of see is kind of like, I don't know, just planning on a 2-base all-in of some kind. You collapse. So the idea was, as stated by the mapmaker on this one, was you collapse one of these, they all collapse. You wall off yours or the opponent's nat. What was it intended to be? No, you all wall off the nat and also block the nat. The problem here is that if there's something already on the nat, it only does 500 damage. So I think in the vast majority of cases, this will not be... This one right here, we can basically just do this. And it's the same. It's the exact same. Or not the exact same. It's 500 HP, but, you know. Maybe you could do a more relevant thing than trying to kill the nat. That's kind of cool. You throw it down to deny your opponent from expanding, but you're also yourself from scouting. Yeah, and they also can't punish. The idea is, I mean, if you block the nat for long enough to be able to kill those rocks and stop Zerg from taking their nat. They'll also have already taken a third, so that's not as relevant. I think the biggest thing that would happen here is, I don't know, maybe I'm a Terran and I want to do that, like, I want to be one of those one-trick ponies you see on ladder that just mega drop on every location at once. So I'm going to knock the rocks down on my own natural, take that 500 health damage, and then just start doing all my, like, mega drops, but I can do it safely. It would be annoying. Pretty much every situation I can think of does not include that. It's just 500 health, really, is what it is. Maybe later on, I guess. Yeah, I guess so. It's just a minor annoyance. Bit odd, but a minor annoyance. I guess, yeah, later on, if you're trying to push in, you can kill 500 HP really quickly and easily. You just come in, kill these, and then you get free picks on the nats. Or the thirds, I mean, maybe. It'd be really cool if you could see something along the lines of these, combined with, I don't know, a backdoor into the main. At some point, you just kind of wall off your nat and just go out through the other entrance to the main. That could be cool. It's an incentive to do it as early as possible. Yeah, the textures are. I've just been kind of ignoring the textures. The textures aren't amazing. On the minimap, they look great, but in game, they don't look amazing, and there's not a ton of distinction between levels on the map. Yeah, but you mean the textures? Yeah, I'm not really worried about the decor. I've just kind of been. I don't like the decor very much, but it's kind of tangential for this. I feel like, bricks would have been better, or rubble. Regardless. Irregardless. I don't know, I kind of feel like it's a bit underdeveloped. All these things on the outside are really cool, by the way. Yeah. I definitely... So looking at the overview... my first time looking at the overview, I thought these were like tiki heads or something. The engine doodads are really cool. I was like, wait, is this kind of like a tribal kind of thing? And then these are all like the faces or something, because my stupid brain immediately saw faces everywhere. But you know, like the native population kind of like Aztec kind of faces, you know? Get my light over here. I love how it's getting dark at like 4:30 now in my time zone because of daylight savings. Yeah. Also, since it's a space station, they could really easily do a man-made texture on a couple of these levels. It's so annoying. Why do we have daylight savings time? Well, there's not really a reason, but I saw one of the reasons I saw listed when I was just looking at like stuff that's being done about and around daylight savings time. It was really funny. One of the reasons I saw for it was it makes me feel, and I saw a direct quote like, it makes me feel like a god because humans can control time. And I was just like, you're pulling my leg here, you know? That is a cool skyline. Yeah, I think the colors are cool back there. For the map itself, though, I'm not overly keen on this one. It's not terrible, but I'm not overly keen on it because I feel like this is rather gimmicky. I feel like the idea could be explored further or implemented better. Yeah, it's undercooked. And not just because of the terraining. It's a 4x4 rocks. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Or is this not the broken one? Was it like 5x5, I think, was the broken one with ice or something? I don't remember. It's been a little bit since I did any of that. As for the rest of the map, oh gosh. Disable skybox. I was thinking it would be so funny to have like you knock one tower and then the entire map just starts knocking towers from the outside all the way into the inside of the map. And it's just like, it knocks the entire map. It's just full of rocks. That would be such a funny map. It's just a meme map. Not like a TLMC submission, but just as a meme. You just like, it's like a battle royale circle. You just like, they just keep knocking in. You're like, oh no. Everybody's running towards the center. Well, they can have a delay if you make them non-conjoined and they hit each other instead. So, I had one proof of concept thing where you could choose between destroying minerals or destroying gas. So, like, you have a base and you have to choose between destroying minerals or gas, which was really an out there kind of thing. But I was trying to get it work with just no triggers, no anything. Basically, I used like a couple different types of collapsible rocks or towers or whatever, and I had it all working. The only problem was if you destroyed the wrong kind of rocks, so like you could see all of them. If you couldn't see all of them, if I could like choose to make some of them invisible, then it would have worked just fine. But technically you could choose to just not choose and you could have both for free. I was using like Zelnaga towers on all the minerals and gas so that you couldn't take them until you knocked them. It was this whole production. It was really funny. I think you could also put like a supply depot or something on top of the minerals in range of like the rock tower where it was going to land, and you could stop it from killing anything. So if you're really dedicated, you could even just lift a barracks and bring it over and just stop the opponent from mining anything. Man, that was a great time though. Don't save changes. Where are we gonna put Wild Ark? Wild Ark over here. Let's see. About there. I'm dealing with corral later. When I've eaten later. It takes too much. You know that the brain consumes an absolutely wild amount of calories. Why isn't it giving me a link? That was weird. Oh. Now, give this the embed item. Here we go. I put a plus at the end. Come on. There we go. I've got this. I'm very specific with my pictures, alright? Anyways. Why are there three kinds of... Oh, no. Why are there three kinds of things going on? Alternative economy for Legacy of the Void. Oh boy, here we go again. 10 bases per player with reduced resources. Mineral nodes have 1,200 or 600 instead of 1,800 or 900. So that's a total decrease of Well, 600, 300. Okay. So a third on each, right? Okay. Geysers have 1500 gas instead of 2250. That's about the same. Did my video break? My video might have broken when. It depends on when. It's done it a couple times, but it's been hiccuping. Expanding quickly to new locations is critical, and turtling becomes considerably more difficult. Bases are densely packed to facilitate quickly expanding. Moreover, the stocks are from running away with their ability to expand the most quickly. Ramps and chokes are somewhat narrower, and flank paths are somewhat longer on average. You see, this line right here is an especially good thing to mention in the mapmaker comments. Because if you're doing something like that to compensate, it's so useful to know that you're actually doing that to compensate. Anyways. Mineral wall. Okay, 2 trips to mine out. You can see flanks with Zelnagas. And there's slow zones on them. So that's somewhere where... Okay. Map looks good despite using 3 different doodads total. Well, you also have the trims. There are the trims. Thank you. 4. Give it the freaking what's it? The respect it deserves here, you know. Side note: the main and natural height look exactly the same in terms of terrain. But yeah, it looks really good, honestly. This is something that's going to look amazing on all graphic settings here. You're very confused. Basically, all resources have 30%. Yes, all minerals are reduced. And the entire map has 33% less resources per patch. So a third of the resources, or a third less resources on every patch. So it's uniform. And then all of the gases are 1500 instead of 2200. Or 2250. And this should be... I did the math wrong, but I think that works out. Yeah. So the gases are also a third less. So basically, all economy has 2/3 of the normal amount of resources in it total. So this is basically just kind of speeding up the entire game in terms of expanding and all that. Kind of launching you straight into late game. But also, there's going to be significantly less money. How many bases are there? There are 20 bases total. So that is going to... Let's see. That's going to balance it out quite a bit. I wonder where I've seen this feature before. You've got that rich gas on the low ground. As for communicating clearly on of the sea, all minerals being gold but reduced. Oh boy. I mean, I think a better... That is just really, really cancer. Yeah. It's really cancer. I mean, you could alternatively add to... Well, no, that does require less workers as well. You have like all 6 patch bases, but they're all gold and they're all reduced. That's really unfortunate. The bright side about this, about it just being less resources total, is that this... Yeah. This setup makes it so that builds are not affected at all. It does an economy change without affecting builds at all. And yes, this does nuke turtling into oblivion. You've got this mineral wall that's for the defender to mine out to gain access to these bases a lot easier. With the speed zone over there. Well, and if they didn't have reduced resources on each base as well, then this would be a pretty powerful first few bases here. It is a really cool concept. Let's see, if I've got this... I mean, a third base for Protoss is going to be pretty far away, at least. But then again, your choke that you're defending is here and here. And these each take 2, so it's going to be 4 trips to mine out a single spot. So it's not like anybody else is going to be mining these out, really. You have to go from here. Let's see. Is it like here? Something like that. It's a good distance away from the other net. Yeah, attack paths are quite limited. Basically, yeah. I actually think I like this a lot. I am surprised this got through through cut stage. Like, it's a pretty drastic change. I think taking the triangle third then the forward base would be the ideal expansion for Terran Protoss. Yeah, probably. And then you've got those conjoined rocks on the backside of that you can knock for... Wait, do you want to knock that? I need to open this. Did I already open this? I did not. Oh, Coral is back. Get out of here, Coral. Get out of here. Tanks behind there might be so good. Get this bad boy open. And then after this one, I'm probably going to go eat. I haven't eaten very much today. It's so annoying. Actually, I have to put fuel in your body. It's, Alright. I was curious specifically. Nice defensive setup by taking that forward base. But since they are all reduced, it's balanced. Yes. Okay, so this is a 900. The equivalent. I also really like the visual distinction of the minerals because it's very wonky to just look at this and then you're immediately like, what's going on? Well, I'm still on this one for the moment. I like that the minerals are mixed lab and purifier because that tells you something's different here. Look at it. Did I go over any of the macro maps? Let me check. Macro. I went over Sacred Isle very briefly. I went over Twilight of Imperium. I didn't love it. Corral. Other than that, not really. I haven't looked at very many of the macro maps yet. I've already gone over magma mines in a previous VOD as well. Yeah. Earlier in this stream, though, I did Sacred Isle. And I also talked about Pacific Rim some more. Not that you would care about those two random maps, but yeah. So true, so true. I mean, in terms of communicating the features, this map does a really good job. Let's see. This is a very, very wide open area. That slow zone helps a lot with that. What does this see? This sees about what you expect. If you're defending these first 4 bases and you take this watchtower, honestly, that's an amazing setup. It also lets you see. It also, if you manage to keep this watchtower, the other player just doesn't notice it. And it also lets you see quite a few. Yeah, it is really hard to tell. This lets you see a lot of outgoing drops as well, potentially. You cannot see the center at all. Okay, you can't see the center attack path at all with both the watchtowers. After you knock these down as well, it's going to be a much nicer to get bigger armies through. I mean, I kind of like it. Oh, look at that water. I didn't even notice the water until now. The water does look really cool. I actually kind of dig this minimalistic this minimalistic deco. This is actually like super awesome. Yeah, I'm fairly certain I know who made this one because of this, right? Well, because of this and because of a couple other tells, but this right here shows up in another map, Cold Steel. But this deco is very fire. Yes, very fire. I mean, honestly, it has a theme and it sticks to the theme. Are these line of sight blockers being used as decoration just down here? They're just chilling. Give me them. Oh wow, okay. So I just noticed something else with the deco. This is what it looks like without fog. That is super interesting. That's like the silver fun colors. Wow, okay. Well, if we're done fawning over the deco, I think it's pretty solid overall, and I think a lot of the problems with balance on this would be something I have very little to no reference for, but it does look like you have, so as a point against Zerg being good on this, you have quite a few features on here that are really, really good for fighting against Zerg. You know? Yeah, I agree. I would very much like to see games on this. Yes, we would 100% have to see it get played. And I don't think this is something that you could just get a couple games played on it to see how it would affect the game. I feel like you need to get to see a good couple late game, kind of more. Yeah. Get just in patches tournament. But I also feel like this would be a fun. It's one of those things where I don't think it would be discovered how this is going to function unless it was on ladder. And I am, in this case, I'm not even morbidly curious. I'm just curious. I think this is cool. Question: how much does this rich gas have? Okay, this rich gas only has 1,500. That's wrong. No. Basically, I say that because normal gases have 2,250 gas in them. Rich gases technically have 2,500. So it's 250 gas more normally for rich gases, which is something that I've discovered a little bit before this TLMC, but I don't know if anybody ever really notices it. I just think it's super interesting. In terms of, and as an aside, in terms of picking a theme or picking a single, or having a cohesive map centered around a freestyle feature, this map does an excellent job of taking a feature and then rolling with that feature. A lot of the maps that we have, or not, maybe not a lot, many of the maps in this TLMC have issues where they don't have cohesive enough of a plan or anything, really. They just have features that are there, that exist, or that are just kind of not reasoned. But I feel like that's another thing that I really like the mapmaker comments for. The mapmaker comments really help know how much the mapmaker put into the map thought-wise as well. Because like this tells me that there was a lot of thought put into the balance of everything really for it, you know? Yes, no, they didn't give you nearly enough time. However, they did Wax kind of told us far in advance that we were having a freestyle pretty much only TLMC. The problem being that we didn't get clarification on exactly how much we could do, which was an insane amount that we could do, until very close to the deadline. I I think this TLMC is kind of a precursor to what's next TLMC is going to be. Because we've got a good few. I mean, I have a good few maps here. Wait. Yeah, no, I think this one's going in my highest category here. I actually really like this. I think we have a fair few maps that are really good this TLMC, but I think we've got a lot of ones that are I think we have a lot of maps that are undercooked. I think the theme of this TLMC is undercooked. In general, and that's like you're saying. I think that's just because we didn't get enough time. But the maps that do have, I think so far all of the maps that I've really liked. Twilight Imperium, I'll show you. I talked about it a little bit earlier on. Okay, I didn't delete that. Twilight Imperium, where are you? It's over here. Twilight Imperium, I had an issue with the healing shrines on it. Oh, interesting. Okay. Here you go. It's not a super high quality picture. Let me just get a higher quality picture here. I already have this downloaded, right? Huh. I did not. I also have three hard drives on my PC right now. So it's kind of hard to remember what I have downloaded or not downloaded. Another map. Was it Coral? The semi-air map? This one? Not on this stream. Okay. It could have been Circus of Doom. I don't know, though. I'm not going to worry about it. This map, though, to reiterate a little bit of what I was saying, basically, the two times where, and I talk about Gold Dust in the same way, this is, if you go back in this stream to where I was talking about Gold Dust, there are two times where healing shrines are going to be very, very impactful, and that's when they're on an attack path or in the middle of the map, or when they're very far off to the side and can only be used for harassment. And in both cases, I feel like they very much benefit Terran over other races. I mean, kind of, yeah. In this case, though, I mean, you can just use Stim to get across the map super quickly, and then heal at these healing shrines at any time. Additionally, with these healing shrines, I checked the other day, and healing shrines out-heal Storm. I kind of feel like we're going to need a balance patch for the healing shrines to be a little weaker, or to have like a max amount of HP they can heal at a single time. No medevac bio. Yeah, no medevac bio would be hilarious. Like, I don't know, like, isn't 3 racks where you hit with Stim and combat shields a really good, or not a really good build, but a normal build? Like, this would be amazing for that, because you would actually be able to keep stimming. These do not have an air blocker either. No. Yeah, so just 3 racks, Stim combat shield, go across the map, you stim a bunch, and then before you die, instead of just letting all your units die, you play more conservatively and you get free heals consistently. I think that'd be absolutely busted. Just put a healing shrine in the main. Let's just skip the middleman here. Actually, would a healing shrine in the main, like, I said that as a joke, but what would that do? Also a 3 Rex Reaper. The Reapers do heal themselves, but I guess so, yeah. You don't even need combat drugs. Is that low ground or high ground? I believe, yeah, no, it's low ground. 3 Rex, I mean, the Reapers heal so quickly, though. I mean, so the problem with that is that by the time if you were doing 3 Rex Reaper on this map, by the time you get to the center of the map, you'd probably already be healed with Reapers. And you don't really want to have any time out of combat with the Reapers. Not really. because not any that you more than you have to, because you want to keep the pressure up on them, so you don't really want to just wait. So I don't think Reapers are an issue because they already have that built-in healing. And then I already mentioned that healing shrines don't really benefit Zerg much because Zerg already heals passively. And Zerg also has transfuse for the bigger units. The only thing that I could see the healing shrines helping for Zerg would be much later into the game where you have Ultras or Broodlords. But for Broodlords, you don't want to put them out of position. So on this map that Broodlords would benefit, on Ultras, it would be always good. And that's really the only thing in the entire game for Zerg that I think would benefit from healing shrines. But it's not optimal, you know? Maybe Zerg could have a bunch of queens just standing on that healing shrine. They could, fight against an entire Skytoss army or something. I don't know. You think Ultras are overtuned? Probably, if they're overtuned against Terran, it'd probably be because of that snipe change rather than anything else, would be my guess. Because snipe seems like the number one reason why Ultras pretty much sucked. Like, you've got libs, you've got tanks, got marauders, but I think snipes always are made anyways. And, yeah. I don't want to get into... Well, I mean, I kind of want to get into the balance council and stuff. But I just want to point out... What did Blizzard do before leaving the game and not patching for almost a year? They buffed Void Rays into the stratosphere and then just noped out. Like, do we really have that high of a bar for balance decisions? And I also want to say that I do think that they're making changes certainly, but I think that they could be making more sweeping changes to just do random bullcrap to make the game more interesting more than anything, and then doing the Blizzard thing where they just kind of nerf it back down to size. Because a lot of what Blizzard would do is they'd specifically target the meta instead of trying to balance the meta. They would just specifically target the meta to shake things up intentionally and then deal with the fallout with a smaller patch later. And I think that kind of style, I really like that style. I think it keeps the game really fresh. I do also personally disagree with a bunch of the changes they've been making. I think that, for example, Broodlords, I feel like just making them faster. I mean, it's much more decent knowing that Broodlords are now as fast as Thors or Carriers. That's a really important note to make here. But also, Broodlings are pretty useless. I kind of like the fact that Broodlords were so slow and you could kind of play to try to outposition them at all times. However, it does make the Broodlords much more noob-friendly in every way, which is always something I'm kind of happy with. I just really kind of wish... What was the Cyclone bug? I don't know if I've actually heard of it. So when you lock onto a unit, it loads into something, it breaks lock on, and the Cyclone can't attack anymore. So basically, the Cyclone will just lose its... But doesn't it lock on again instantly? Or do you mean you lock on and then start running like you usually do? And then you just... Every time you do that, it breaks lock on a ton of... The ability's permanent. What the heck? Well, that's a bug. That's not the Balance Council's fault. And that's something that we should be fixing as soon as possible. But, the biggest thing I don't like about a lot of the things the Balance Council has been doing is the fact that they've been... Why is there a slow zone? right there. Slow zone on Tiny Choke. Hee hee hoo hoo. The Balance Council in a lot of cases have been taking the identity of units in kind of really generic ways. So, like, the Cyclone was really a unit that was meant to kind of stop cheeses and for, like, earlier harassment defense. And now it's pretty much just a general... It's basically a mech marine, is what it is, kind of. It's a cool mech marine, but it's more of a mech marine now. Yeah, the Mothership is... The Mothership, I actually... unironically love the Mothership. Because I didn't at first. I thought it was awful at first, but now I really like it. The only thing that I'd want is that I'd like for the Mothership to have an energy bar, and then Cloak is based off the energy bar instead of being a cooldown, and then the others are cooldown based. I mean, that might be a little weird, but I'd like for there to be more possible uptime on Cloak, but it's still to be... I mean, if they want it to be a tactical decision on when you use Cloak, then if you made it energy, then you would have a lot longer cooldown on it, but you can have it uptime for a lot longer. Yeah, I mean, there's things you can do instead of just making Cloak not last very long. But I think the Mothership is... I think it's a lot more fun to play with now than it used to be. And also the Mothership speed being debuffed when enabled. Wouldn't it just fall behind the rest of your army in that case? Yeah, I guess it is kind of an arbiter. But we don't have arbiter in StarCraft. But, you know, I generally like the new Mothership. I didn't at first, but now I kind of do. Cyclone 2... Cyclones are trash as a marine. You don't use them in the exact same way. Cyclones might not be... Well, I mean, I'm kind of winding down here, but... Cyclones are not necessarily fulfilling the exact same role as a marine, but they are some really nice... Like, you can gain upgrades from... You can gain upgrades from mech units and then, you know, use them as interim anti-air while you're getting, like, Thors or something out. Being able to, without having the production for the Marines or the upgrades for the Marines, you know, the maximum useful number is 8. Yeah, I played a really funny team game yesterday where we were going up against a team of enemy, like, Masters 2s, and they built pretty much pure Cyclone into... They played pretty much pure Cyclone into... What was it? Battle cruisers. They had like 3 or 4 tanks each to try to anchor or help anchor, but they were just the funniest things ever. What was it? My comp was... I was also Terran because I was having fun. I was being an idiot. I hate TVT. This is the first TVT I've ever enjoyed. I had concussive Marauders with my own Cyclones and a couple of tanks. And then I started making some libs too because it was funny. It was amazing. Battle Mech is awesome. Battle Mech's real fun. Yeah. I feel like this one went a lot better because it was so much more focused on what I was trying to talk about after judging them myself on my own and all that. I did like some of the things you guys were saying on some of them too. I think I agreed with some of your things here. Yeah, it'd be nice if somebody put in timestamps or wrote down timestamps while I was doing this, but yeah. I didn't talk about Dynasty. I didn't talk about Insomniac. I guess I can save those for later. But yeah. Anyways. Bye. Where is Agria Valley? Is it hidden in the category above Great Maps? Here, I'll add it for you. There you go. I added it for you. Agria Valley. I could start a poll. Poll Agria Valley. And the options are yes or Agria Valley. Well, Agria Valley won. Amazing. Pull. Agria Valley? Agria Valley. Anyways, bye-bye. If it lets me